It is rivalry week in college football, and the hype is all around every game for every team. It is must win not only the college football playoff, but the rivalries themselves. If you are hyped, watching on mobile, swipe right, smash that hype button to hype up college football. Welcome to CFB Now here on Chat Sports. My name is Billy Beebe. Once again discussing Florida Gators coaching rumors. Yes, obviously we will talk Lane Kiffin once again. It's Lane or bust, right, for the Gators, so we got to mention that. We got to mention the other names being tossed around by whether it be experts or people related to the program, and then, of course, the betting odds on the names being mentioned. So a full slate real quick on the latest Florida coaching rumors. One of them being proposed right now when it comes to Lane Kiffin, LSU is back in the mix. Our last time we talked in our videos here, it looked like Florida gained the high ground. Shout out the Star Wars reference there. It looked like Florida was on top, surging, ready to make that move, finish things off, getting the money together, flying Lane around. And yet the tides have turned again. LSU is gained the high ground now, it seems. As some recent reports have it, and then our friends at BetOnline putting out the latest odds. Look, I've got these odds for you today. I do want to note, especially with some other recent coaching news, these bad boys are shifting up and down, plus, minus, all around. So by the time you watch this, they may have changed again, so feel free to seek them out and look. But this is kind of where we're at. Good idea of where we're at. Kiffin, back to the top of that LSU coaching board. It was Dillingham for a second. Actually, Kiffin was down to 3. We saw Nick Saban for a week take a rise. So yeah, the Tigers back in the mix, trying to get Lane, similar to college football signing day coming up. People are making that last-ditch effort. Money's being thrown around. Pitches are being sold. The Lane Kiffin situation has not slowed down. Straight up, I want to know from you right now in the comment section, what is Lane Kiffin going to do? F for Florida, L for LSU, or O for Ole Miss? And speaking of the Rebels, we will try and find out what we think, what we keep hearing. Again, with the ultimatum thing, I don't know how many of these reports are actually factual or real or anything. I really got butthurt, honestly, by the ultimatum thing. Just Kiffin just being like, yeah, that's not true. But ESPN reporting after Saturday's Egg Bowl, we should know the future of Lane Kiffin. Maybe it's Lane making that announcement. Maybe it is Ole Miss making a decision there. So we should know what Lane's going to do. You got to have a plan B, right? The plan B for Florida is being discussed right now, too, because of both the recent surge from LSU and Lane. The rumors are he's just doing this for fun, right? He's having a good time with this. Well, the first number 2, the guy it looks like at number 2 right now, is Jedd Fisch. And if you've kept up with us here on CFB Now, we've discussed Jedd Fisch plenty. My guy, Josh Pate, I'm a fan some days, not a fan others on that one. Josh Pate discussing Jedd Fisch as an option for Washington, kind of their backup, right? If they don't get Lane Kiffin, if Lane decides Saturday that it's not going to be Florida, and if Florida's out of options, Jedd Fisch was a name Josh Pate threw around, which we'll get to that quote in just a second. Thoughts on Jedd Fisch? Is that somebody you think Florida should look at? Is that a good number 2 option, or could they do better at their number 2? If you think Fisch is a good second option, type Y. If you disagree, type N for no. Pate saying this about Jedd Fisch and the situation with Florida right now. Seeing Jedd Fisch's name thrown around. Jedd would love that job, man. He has gotten hot as of late, and I want you to picture this world. Okay, you got to forward think on this, he was talking about. Picture a world where Lane, after the Egg Bowl, decides he's either going to LSU or he's going to stay at Ole Miss. Same Saturday, Jedd Fisch upsets Oregon. Yeah, that's Washington's matchup. And Pate kind of adding in there, look, this is no way to do your coaching search option after one Saturday. But they do operate this way sometimes. And it looks like Jedd Fisch could have some momentum. So Fisch, a name being discussed there. Coach Spurrier, Gator fans, do the chomp for Coach Spurrier real quick. He had some names that he wanted to throw in the mix for the Florida job, which we will discuss in just a second. But first, do want to let you guys know This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. You got bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks. Simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Good example here. A Sunday 2-pick power play. This is the game I got my eyes on. I'm going more with DK Metcalf. You guys know I love the rushing or receiving touchdown pairing there. So we went more on the half there. And Josh Allen, more on 232.5 passing yards. He's due to get things back on track for the Bills. They really need it. I like going more twice. I like the rushing receiving, and the 2-pick power play on a Sunday in that matchup is a really good time. And if you saw that lineup and you liked it, you can copy other players directly on the app in just one click. It can be a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit that follow button. Check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab. Also, new feature alert. Prize Picks now has early payouts. So if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. A word from the legend, Coach Spurrier. Again, he keeps weighing in on the coaching search for the Gators. A lot of good coaches out there that might not be coaches in the Power 4. I think that's important to note, too. The guy at James Madison, Bob Chesney, the guy at Tulane, Jon Sumrall. There's a lot of really good ones that have consistent records for winning. If we end up with one of those coaches, he may be better than the big-name coaches. You just don't know. And again, if you're not familiar, we want to keep you up to date. The 2 guys Coach Spurrier mentions there, Bob Chesney at James Madison. They're having a heck of a year. A lot of people fighting for them to get in the college football playoff. And a guy we're going to talk a lot about here in a second. He's got some momentum, the same as Jedd Fisch. Jon Sumrall from Tulane. You've heard his name plenty. With this job, with Arkansas, with LSU, with Penn State at times, Jon Sumrall has been in the mix for multiple coaching jobs as of late. So it really wasn't surprising that he was mentioned with that job there. And again, with Sumrall, he's done a good job at Tulane, kind of looking through what's going on there. We're keeping you up to date on that for every coaching job, so you can make sure you hit that sub button here on CFB Now, because with that situation, I mean, could be we're discussing the Arkansas job, we're discussing Florida, we're discussing LSU, we're discussing Penn State. So there's so much to discuss there. Pivoting back to Florida, of course, this is a Florida-centered video. The Kalshi Florida head coach odds, again, Jedd Fisch right now at the top, surging. These change minute by the minute. Fisch towards the top, Kiffin at number 2, and again, Sumrall now moving up to that number 3. We'll explain why in just a second. Our friends at BetOnline, they've got their odds on the job. Fisch and Kiffin, even on this one. Then Sumrall, Brent Key, Jeff Brohm, names you've heard over and over and over again, but you keep seeing Sumrall. Jon Sumrall is a real option from Tulane to go to Florida if things don't work out with Lane Kiffin. We even got the report about 2 weeks ago that there was a meeting scheduled and canceled between the two. I don't know if that's like momentum good or momentum bad for that situation, but I did think it was worth noting that that was reported that those two were going to meet and ended up getting canceled. I don't know if that was a scheduling conflict or what. Sumrall did well at Troy, moved on to Tulane. He's done solid so far. You know, he's building that momentum there, trying to do more, trying to do better, but obviously heavily regarded for multiple jobs right now to move from Tulane to question mark, you know, it could be Florida, Penn State, but he is a name right now for the Gators specifically being discussed. A name we haven't talked too much about that I don't want us to forget about here, because I still see him on a lot of hot boards for that Florida job, is Vanderbilt's Clark Lea. Clark Lea, and if you've been with us here on CFB Now talking Florida, we have discussed him multiple times. Again, running through the pluses and minuses for Clark Lea. This was from Gators Online. They noted these things. A program builder, a great motivator, and he has a physical playing style, which you guys know, great in the SEC, needed in the SEC. Downside to consider, low expectations right now, right? Who cares what Vanderbilt actually does in the end? Short-term success right now, and a lot of that success is built on a Heisman candidate quarterback in Diego Pavia. So Lee not in the top 5 right now for the betting odds for that Florida job. Should be considered, though. Absolutely should be considered and still kind of kept in the range there. He's not off the board. There are names off the board right now. You can cross 2 more names off the board, it looks like, for the Florida head coaching job. The first one, Coach Golish from USF. Now, we're still waiting on more confirmation, but the report seems good. It seems like it's being ran with right now. If you watched our boy Trizzy Trace do his video recently talking about the Hog job, Golish seems that he's headed to Arkansas to be the head coach there. We're waiting on further confirmation, but the reports and whatnot out of Arkansas is that it is the USF coach going there. He's been in and out of the mix for Florida. And then Pete Thamel just this morning confirming that Coach Eli Drinkwitz of Missouri, getting an extension there, a nice pay increase to stay at Missouri. So those are 2 names off the board for the Gators as they continue to kind of sort through all these names. It's like Lane Kiffin and then a hodgepodge of names, right? And that's why you want to stay updated with us. We are keeping you up to date all the time during this coaching search. If you're a Florida fan, hang in here with us. If you're a college football fan, hang in here with us. Be sure to hit that sub button to get up to date on all the coaching searches here on CFB Now.